what do you think are the most important things or the first steps that someone should take in order to be a little more environmentally friendly?
There are so many things in our
Mm-hmm.
daily life that we don't think about. For example, even like closing the tap when you're not using the water. It's simple, very simple, like brush your teeth, close it, you know. Um, but also many choices you make, like the food you eat, it impacts a lot the environment in many levels. So it can be from choosing products that is, you know, cultivated near you, and you also help like small farmers and the community around you because the carbon imprint is going to be much lower than if you keep buying, you want your avocado toast and you live in the other side of the world. you know that's not very sustainable, even though once in a while we do crave those things, but maybe it shouldn't be part of everyday life if it's not locally produced. And the way, for example, if you the choices of food you have. So if you choose to live a vegan lifestyle or a vegetarian lifestyle, your carbon imprint is going to be much lesser as well. Even if you don't care much for the animals, even though you should, if you just care about the environment, that's another thing.
Mm-hmm. And that leads us to some people, they don't call themselves vegan or vegetarian. They only say like a plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I don't really agree with that. I mean, some people they do that because they don't want to associate themselves with all the connotations that come with being a vegan or the activism behind it. But I think it's important, like someone has to spread the message. Um, I do agree that sometimes the message can be a little rough, and people are not. They don't want to see that. They're not. Some people are not ready to see that, but it's almost like living blindly if you don't know what's happening. So yeah, I believe we should talk about this more openly. And if someone asks you, "Why are you this or that? Are you vegetarian? Are you vegan?" I think it's pretty important to explain. Of course, I think we passed through phases we are a little more aggressive, some others that we are less. But throughout time, I've learned how to express myself a little better and make people understand. I mean, some people have even tried to become vegetarians after we talked for a while. So it's important, um, if you are a vegetarian or vegan, try to make other people understand the cause, even though they may not be willing to see all the suffering behind it. But yeah.
But the levels of aggressiveness
Has
surely
changed.
changed. Because I
Yeah.
remember 14-year-old me, I was an angry person. And I was like, you're eating a corpse. So I learned that this approach does not work. People feel like they're personally attacked, so they won't do anything. They'll just like fight you back and start saying hideous things to you and making fun of your lifestyle, even though you're trying to make the best you can. But yeah, but nowadays it's more like really trying to teach people and just open their eyes so everyone can make their own decision. If they, after being aware of what's going on in the farming, in the, for example, milk industry and the meat industry and all those things, how those animals are treated and how this is impacting the environment in general. If they want to continue with their lifestyles, okay, but at least now they are aware and it's a choice, not something that is blindly imposed on them as well.
And I think it's interesting how some people, they think about young people who become vegan or vegetarian, and they think they're in this fantasy world, just being, different and against everything. But actually, those people who don't care, they are actually living in the fantasy because they don't want to see the reality in anything. They don't want to see the reality on the meat industry. They don't want to see the reality, for example, on the clothing industry. They don't want to see the reality on like childhood labor, and then we are the crazy ones living in a utopic world. I don't think so.
But also like some even young people, they're just like, but I'm gonna miss the taste of this, like I don't think I can live without tarara. And I just think this is so
Selfish.
I don't know.
A little bit. For me, I feel it's a little, I think people have their priorities, For me, it is not a priority for me, to taste
What did
something
you
that
say?
I used to like. So, on the
And
topic
also,
of it,
they're not open to new things because once you go vegan, you like the amount of recipes and beautiful things you learn is just amazing. So actually, people say, you like kind of restrict your life, but actually you open doors to new things. And go ahead.
I would just say on the lines of veganism, I think it's important to, like my sister was saying, support local brands and local stores. But also when you are shopping for other things like cosmetics or even like pharmaceuticals in general, if you find something that is vegan, it's better, I believe, because I'm really against testing in animals. So it's something that you should be aware of if you also care about this. So choosing vegan brands is also something that you can support the environment and also organic things because they're not using lots of chemicals and toxins to on your food on the things that you're using.
Yeah. And what I was going to say as well, I just think it's so insane that some people find, for example, some luxury brands, they sell bags made out of crocodile skin or snake skin. And I just think this is so, it's almost
Unethical.
unbelievable that some people find it, they buy it, and it's so expensive just because it's something fancy, just because, it's seen as something exclusive. But actually, there's so much cruelty behind it that I just find it's horrible. And leather, there are so many vegan options. There's leather made out of pineapples and mushrooms and grape skin and so many other things. So I think people just need to open their minds a little bit and stop. Even like fur, some people still buy fur, and this blows my mind because it doesn't make any sense.